on a week update.
Hello and welcome. You tuned into Business Lunch. I'm Nisha Podar, and with me as always is my co-anchor Pavitra Parekh. So the market today is looking tentative. In fact, Nifty 50, if you really take a look at that, in a matter of about 100 odd points, it has been going up and down in the trading session off the low point of the day, but at the moment quite a bit on the flat line with hardly any gains, but still holding on to that 18,000 level. So that has been the trend for the past three trading sessions. In fact, Bank Nifty is the one which is taking a deeper cut today, 0.3% down, underperforming the key indices, and mid-cap also are pretty much in line with the way the financials universe is trending. So therefore, advance decline ratio is on the side of the advances at the moment, but the overall market sentiment looks a little tentative. Reliance Industries, the big boy, is one of the biggest contributor to Nifty 50, and Adani Enterprises, look at the kind of big rise this heavyweight is seeing today, close to about 4.5% up in trade. And some of the other ones doing extremely well are Bajaj Finserv, Hindalco, Ultratech, and even JSW Steel from the metals pack.
All right, so that is what is happening in terms of the metal stocks. If you take a look at the PSU Bank Index, that for this week is still doing well. So even though the Nifty Bank is down, the PSU Bank Index alone is one of the top sectoral gainers. That one is up over 1% today, but for the week it's still up almost 3%. That's what's happening with the entire space. In fact, take a look at some of the smaller banks, the likes of Karnataka, which are rallying for the third straight day. It's up 18% right now. Bank of Maharashtra seeing a gain of 8%. Dhanlakshmi is another one. I'm just naming a few, but this entire sector has just been on fire. On the downside, it is the IT stocks which are seeing some cuts, and some of the pharma names as well. Yes, like Nisha pointed out, there is a little bit of tentativeness in the market, but considering the fact that you have the jobs report tonight, you have SBI declaring results tomorrow, you have Bank of Baroda declaring results tomorrow, perhaps that caution is understood. So that's what's happening with the market action. We'll get back to that. But first up, let's get to the individual stories. Battery makers are surging in trade on the back of a strong showing from Amara Raja. There's a sharp 140 basis points uptick in the margin also, which is brought it back above the 13% mark after 5 quarters. So Sonia is here to take us through the details and to tell us why the battery makers are surging.
Well, thanks a lot for that. As you rightly pointed out, the battery makers' stocks are doing very well. This after Amara Raja reported a very strong set of numbers this time. It was an all-round beat for Amara Raja Batteries, but the big takeaway really is that the operational performance has improved substantially. After 5 quarters, the management's margins are back to above 13%. For the last 5 quarters, the margins were languishing anywhere between 10 to about 12 odd percent, and now it's come in at 13.2%, which is a gain of 140 basis points on a year-on-year basis. That's largely because of the fall that we've seen in lead prices. On a quarter-on-quarter basis, lead prices are down by about 10 odd percent, and the raw material costs, lead prices forms about 70% of the raw material costs for battery makers. Hence, Exide is also rallying in anticipation of that, of good numbers. Now, that brings us to whether there's valuation headroom or not for these battery stocks, and yes, there is. If you take a look at the valuations currently, both Amara and Exide are trading at around 13 to 14 times FY24 PE. This is at the lower end of their valuation band. The historic valuation band is about 12 to 18 times, which means that there is still more headroom for Amara Raja and Exide to grow, both in terms of earnings as well as valuations. Now, in the context of earnings, the commentary from the management was also very strong. They said that there is very strong demand in the automotive sector from both aftermarket as well as the OEM segment. Exports have shown a healthy growth, especially in the Middle Eastern and Southeast Asian markets. And the industry battery volumes, which were sulking for a while, have now started to recover, especially because of the telecom segment due to the 5G launch in India. Also, they have announced a lithium-ion battery manufacturing subsidiary, so they see significant potential in that space, in the electric vehicle space, and hence that announcement of the subsidiary there. All in all, no faults in the numbers, and Exide is rallying in anticipation perhaps of a good set of earnings. Back to you.
All right. Thanks so much, Sonia, for giving us that entire picture on the batteries business as well. But take a look at CAMS. They have just posted their result and the stock has seen a sharp spike up. Street seems to like the kind of improvement that they have shown on a QOQ basis on net profit and marginal improvement in the revenues. Keep that on your radar, but market is really reacting to the individual stocks on the basis of their Q2 performance. Let's focus on the pharma space then. Ajanta Pharma, that is down over 6.5% and is losing in trade after, remember, a sharp dip in margins in the second quarter has been posted by the company. In fact, Ekta Batra is right here with the details and also what the brokerages are making of these numbers and the future performance as well. Ekta.
Thanks for that. Well, yes, disappointment for Ajanta Pharma, considering that the margins in Q2 have come in at what has been the lowest quarter that a lot of analysts have seen since they even started covering the stock. So it is a multi-quarter low which is come in for Ajanta Pharma in terms of the margins, 20.9% versus 29.7% year-on-year and versus an estimate of around 25%. Now, the margins did weigh on the profit, which was down 20% on a year-on-year basis. Revenue was up around 6-odd%. That was largely in line because the street was anticipating around a 7% growth. India sales did well. It was up around 25% year-on-year. Asia was up around 30-odd% on a year-on-year basis. What weighed down was US, the generics business. It was down 5% year-on-year, weighed down by factors such as price pressure, and the Africa institutional business, which was down 50%. Now, the margins, the company did say, were impacted by factors such as raw material, freight costs, price erosion in the US markets, and preponement of certain costs. However, the company is guiding for a second half improvement, and that's probably the only silver lining. Whether or not that comes through is something that the street would watch. So they've guided for around 26% in terms of margins. Asia is expected to grow 20% plus. India is expected to grow in high teens as well. Motilal has a buy with a target price of 15.60. Incred has maintained an ad with a target price of 14.39. Both these brokerages have maintained their call, but they've cut their earning estimates to factor in a couple of these headwinds.
All right, Ekta, thanks a lot for taking us through all of the highlights from Ajanta's performance. But another one that we're tracking, luxury watch retailer Ethos is buzzing after a strong quarter, where the company reported its highest ever EBITDA and profit numbers. So earlier, in fact, we spoke to Yashovardhan Sabu, who's founder and chairman of Ethos, to discuss the outlook for the company going forward. So let's listen in to a few of those comments. It looks like there's some trouble playing that. We will get back to that. I'm sure the team is trying to check. But in the meantime, by the way, take a look at the market. We did briefly move into the green as well. So there is a little bit of an uptick over there. What is looking weak today, like we pointed out, is the IT space. It is some of the banks also which have come under pressure. It is the private banks mostly which are under pressure today. So do keep your eye out on that. Something else that I quickly want to point to, and maybe... okay, so we are going to, I wanted to take you through the Asia market action. I will get to that because we know that there's a lot going on there. But first up, let's get to Vodafone Idea. That one is under pressure today on the back of weak Q2 earnings. So let's get to that. Rima is here with the fine print.
Thanks so much for that. So the revenue growth for Vodafone Idea was pretty healthy at about 2%, but margins have contracted by 300 basis points to 38.6%. That, coupled with a big finance cost, has driven a large loss in the bottom line. So the bottom line loss stands at 7,500 crore rupees. The problem for Vodafone Idea is that it's losing subscribers every single quarter. This quarter, it lost about 6 million subscribers on a sequential basis. Compare this with peers, which both managed to report a subscriber addition. On a year-on-year basis, their subscriber base has now fallen by 18.5 million subscribers. And this even as the company continues to spend more to acquire customers. Their marketing cost has been going up quarter after quarter. If you look at the marketing cost this quarter, it was about 1,100 crore rupees, which is a good 68% higher than what it was same time last year. But that's not resulting in any, subscriber addition. Net debt continues to balloon. 2.2 lakh crore is the latest figure, as a result of which its finance cost is more than 6,000 crore rupees. So if you annualize the finance cost, we are looking at a number of 24,000 crore rupees, which is roughly 90% of the company's market capitalization. So debt losing subscribers is a problem for the company. Back to you.
All right. So the woes really continue surrounding Vodafone Idea, the third major telecom company in the country. All right, moving on then, we promised this to you, and let's get back to that story again. Luxury watch retailer Ethos is buzzing after a strong quarter where the company reported its highest ever EBITDA and also the profit numbers. Earlier, we spoke to the management of the company, and we got his outlook for the company going forward as well. In fact, the stock is buzzing. Keep that on your radar. All right, on that note, lots of numbers really to digest, so I'll give you a little bit of time. We'll slip into a short breather on Business Lunch. When we return, the Bank of England hikes rates by 75 basis points. We get you all the details on the central bank moves right after this very short break.